Gentlemen, it's another episode of Agency Exposed. Good morning.
Hey, guys.
How are you?
Brad, you make a bunch of money on Dogecoin?
A Doge. Jeez. You know what? I've been telling everyone, don't get into Dogecoin. It's just a Wall Street bet, Elon Musk pump. It's
Meme coin.
Memes, it doesn't have any use case. They're not changing the world with Dogecoin. And then all of a sudden, everybody's telling me, like, man, I made a lot of money on Dogecoin. I'm like, I sat on the sidelines, watched it spike.
Value is just what, this is not a real thing, but value is perception.
Yeah, you know what I noticed is
perception's reality.
Correct. And even
for a little while at least.
Even the stock market is like this. It's not about true value anymore. No. It's about narrative.
Yeah, I mean, what did Coinbase IPO at $100 billion? Is it worth $100 billion, Brad?
$100 billion?
I think it was $100 billion.
Yeah, $100 billion maybe. Yeah, it's all about narrative. So even with stock, it's all about like short-term narratives. It's, it's not long-term anymore. Nobody cares about anything of value.
It's kind of like marketing, kind of like agency life.
Yeah. So, anyways,
before we press record,
I could talk about crypto for
tell everyone what you said. You're here trying to invest in things of value, and
I'm interested in like decentralized finance and all these
clean energy.
All these organizations.
Put your money into Doge.
Yeah, all these organizations that are doing some really cool technologies, and on the Ethereum network and all this stuff, and then this. A made up, just for a joke, cryptocurrency is like one of the top 10 cryptocurrencies in the world.
Do you think, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, with what happened with GameStop, do you think it set a precedence for people to unintelligently invest in things just because somebody can drive the price up? And I think with Doge, it's interesting. It may continue to go up and turn into something one day, but I'm just concerned that so many people are going to jump on the bandwagon and lose a lot of money.
Yeah, they did. And they have. GameStop did. A lot of those people that, you'd never buy at the top because what goes up must come down. There's this thing called gravity. And they always say that the red bars, which is when stock or something's falling, falls like an elevator. And then the green bars, which is going up, goes up like stairs. So it goes up like stairs a little slowly, but it goes up, 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 up. But man, when it crashes, it crashes. And so, I hate to be someone in GameStop who bought GameStop for the $300 or $400 a share because they lost their butt and, thinking it's going to go higher. And a lot of those people have never been in the market. They're just, hopefully some of these early investors, people, the Robinhood investors and those people who started just investing for the first time, hopefully they'll get to the point where they actually start looking at the value because, Wall Street really looks at value.
Right.
They don't, they're not pump and dumping. In fact, it's kind of illegal. It can be illegal in certain ways to do that. Not social pump and dump like the GameStop stuff, but other stuff. But yeah, so, they're kind of the same way in crypto too. They're just like, just ride on, Elon Musk tweets something, then just get on it.
Yes.
Which, all right. Dogecoin on Mars. That's what, Elon Musk is going to use Dogecoin as the currency of Mars.
That's so funny.
Yeah. He and me both. What's funny is this episode's going to come out probably weeks after this. So maybe Doge will be like several dollars and
well, they're trying to pump it up to $1.
Retire from Agency Exposed.
They're trying to pump it to $1. I never would have believed it, but hey, go for it.
No, but I was going to say, I think yesterday Coinbase IPO'd. Well, no, I know it did. No, 2 days ago. Sorry.
2 days
That was 2 days ago.
I got a few shekels of Coinbase.
So I put a little bit on there.
What'd you get it at?
No, so I don't believe in buying right off the bat, but I was like, I want to be on this train. I want to see what happens. So I bought one share, $3.99.
Okay.
It's down. It was down below that. I think it was like $3.20 or something like that.
Yeah. So I watched it go up to $400, and I'm like, I'm not riding that train.
No.
It came back down, and I bought.
And that's probably where I'll start buying it.
My entry price is $3.25.
Well, what's funny is, oh man, it's good.
Yeah. It went down to $3.10 the first day, but now it's even lower.
Was it? Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
What's funny is I made up the difference on my Dogecoin earnings.
All right.
On that day, so it's great.
Well,
few pennies here and there.
Talking
out.
What's that?
I said a few pennies here and there, and they all even out.
It's shekels. I mean, it's a lot of shekels.
Shekels.
I like that word. So today, talking about cryptocurrency, it's a great transition to talk about Bob.
Oh, yeah.
What about Bob?
I'm very.
We want to finish up.
Well, so if you hadn't listened to the last episode, we started going around, day in the life of, and there are a lot of questions around what's the day in the life of an agency. I think even agency owners want to know what other agencies do. And so we started to go around the room and talk a little bit about all of ourselves last episode. And then I think I went first and I never stopped. And so unfortunately, Bob never got to go in either.
Well, you have a very full life. So it takes a whole episode to just get through your first 10 minutes.
Yeah,
what's
sad about that is my life is not as full as I'd like it to be. So that's unfortunate. But anyway, yeah, I think
You live a full life, Ken.
try to.
So today I'd like to hear a little bit about Bob and what his day looks like, the day in life of Bob Hutchins.
And what can we learn from that?
Yes. So Bob, tell us a little bit about do you like a
Typical day.
soft, medium, or hard pillow? Like what? Like when you wake up in the morning, are you?
I'm like a medium. Like I'm a side sleeper, so it has to like fit right under the side of the
Got
neck,
it.
just right. And
Have you guys seen that pillow? It's a cube.
Yeah, I saw the ads for that one.
There's ads for it all
It
over.
doesn't
I'm like,
look very comfortable.
I mean,
it's
yeah,
a cube.
It's actually a cube.
Yeah,
And I'm like, this is not.
What's the logic
Can't
behind
be a
that?
good idea. It's for side sleepers.
yeah.
Well, in Asia, they've slept on cubes for years. Like I was
I
watching.
did not know that.
Yes, they have. Like if you look at like the old Japanese movies, and watching an old James Bond movie, and he was supposedly in Japan with the paper walls and stuff, and they sleep on those mats. And I've seen it in other movies and films and stuff, but they put like this block underneath their neck. And I don't know if it's like a little soft thing or a piece of wood or what. So maybe that's where it comes from.
Like clearly,
I just bought a
problem is if you roll on your back, you're kind of up a creek.
I bought a flat foam pillow from Casper because I was having problems with my neck with my feathered down pillow. It took about 3 days for it to feel right. Like, when you switch something out, it's like you're just not used to it. But man, it really actually helped. It's not square, but it's kind of it is a memory foam, and it's really helped. I don't wake up with a stiff neck as much. But it took 3 days to finally kind of get. It felt weird. I woke up in the middle of the night a lot, and then all of a sudden it just clicked. So,
Well, Bob, do you sleep on a cube?
No, I do not.
yeah.
My bed is a cube, a giant one.
So let's talk about the day in life of Bob.
So yes.
Bob, what do you? So what time normally do you
Get up?
Get up in the morning. What's your routine?
I usually get up around 6 a.m. This morning I got up earlier, but around 6 a.m. I only have one child left at home, and he's about to go into high school. He's finishing junior high. My wife teaches at the same school. So they're usually up getting ready to head out. I usually get up. I make coffee while my wife's getting ready, and see them out the door. And usually I'll sit and either exercise or do my morning routine, enjoy coffee, prepare for the day. And then usually I'm out the door by, 8 a.m. so I can get to the office by 8:30. Or in this case, on Fridays, I'm up earlier and over here so that we can record on Friday mornings. But usually my morning consists of getting up, usually, like I said, making coffee, having coffee, either working out with like going for a walk, taking the dog out, getting a couple of miles of walk in. I'm a big fan of Apple Fitness, so I try to close my exercise circle first thing in the morning. I'm not a big gym guy. I will go to the gym a couple of days a week just to get some like heavier weights in, but I've got like a couple of 25-pound weights and like a 30-pound kettlebell. And so I'll do like my own like exercise just to keep weights in, a lot of body weight exercises, maybe do Apple Fitness in the morning, maybe meditate as much as I can, and then head to the office. And I'm about 30 minutes away. And usually I start the morning before everyone gets in. Everyone starts streaming in between 8:30 and 9. I know, Ken, you're a big fan of this, but I do journaling. And what do you use? You use the the specific
There's one called the 5-minute journal.
5-minute journal.
That's good, but as far as writing down your like a little bit more long form, it doesn't really work for that, but it does work for other areas of that.
Yeah.
So do you go back and read your journal entries a lot?
I do. And my journal is short, like you said. I use something called Panda Journal, and it's more of like 3 things you're grateful for, 3 things you're excited about in the day. What's your daily affirmation? What are your priorities for the day? And then your to-do list, things like that. So I think it just helps me set my mind to say, like, what am I going to clean my brain out, like reboot the computer, start fresh, and what am I going to do that day? It also has on there an exercise thing, like what are you going to do to keep your body moving during the day too, which is helpful for me because I can get like stuck in the office or sitting at a desk or at a standing desk, and I can let like 5 hours go by, 5-6 hours, and not really move or like move my body or do stuff that's important. So I find journaling is really
I actually started. So I did the 5-minute journal for a long time, and then recently I started. Not recently, it's probably been about a year and a half now. I started doing like kind of longer form journaling. Just trying to. I think the goal is just to kind of extract some learnings from the day before, and I don't do it. I try and do it every day, but it ends up being probably a handful of times a week. But that when you're intentional about doing that, a friend told me about that. You're surprised at how many, if you look back and reflect on your day and the experiences you had and how you were feeling, or all those kind of things. A, what you'll learn from it, and B, how you'll see the trending of your problems or your wins or whatever's going on. So I started doing that.
My journal has, at the end of the day, it does have what was the day, and then what could you do better tomorrow.
So there's a finishing portion of that's pretty cool. Now you mentioned, Bob, that about a computer reset, because sometimes I feel like I don't ever get a reset until like Friday at 5 o'clock. I don't know why. Maybe it's just a mental thing, like it's a mental hurdle. But sometimes I feel like I wake up and I'm still in the same. I'm still in the past day mentally, and even my level of energy is still kind of depleted when I wake up. Do you find that you've been able to do resets? Are these some things that really help you? Obviously, exercise,
physical motion of your body, and I've talked about this. You guys know Dr. Mason. Some of us use him as a chiropractor here. He's got a funny saying, but it stuck in my brain. He says, "Motion is lotion," and like the number one thing.
That wasn't Nemo?
The number one thing that he says keeps you active, longevity, moving, active in your life is just be active, just move. And I think for a reset for me, and I think a lot of this ties into personality, Brad, but for me, I've learned over the years, and probably most recently in the last few years, that I have to like act out and move my body to clear my mind. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
I think the mind-body connection is so much more than we even can imagine. And so I'll stop in the middle of the day and I will walk around the building at the office, or I will go walk a mile to Publix and pick up a snack, or go get a coffee and then walk back. And to me, that's the best reset. In the mornings, it's drink water first thing when you wake up, and then move. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be like crazy cannot kind of stuff where you're at the gym pumping weights or anything.
In the morning, I don't do that. I just move. I think, but yes, water and move. Those are one of the two things.
Like for me, when I wake up, and this is, I let's admit I have an addiction, but the first thing I think about when I wake up is coffee.
Yeah, me too.
Is that something? Dogecoin?
No.
Dang it, man.
Well, sometimes we'll look at the stock prices.
How much did I make last night?
Yeah, I do a lot of little stupid financial stuff. So a lot of times in the morning, I like to chill out with a cup of coffee, see what's going on in the day.
It's the first thing I think of in the morning too, and that's okay, because I think sometimes having little things that you do regularly, routines. I almost see it like almost like a ceremony, and that's not a bad thing. It's just that the worst thing you can do in the morning, I think, is lay in bed, get on your phone. It's 30 minutes. I think the best piece of advice that I've heard is get up, immediate count to 3, 3, 2, 1, get up. Don't allow yourself to lay in bed. Don't allow yourself to like go down a hole of, what am I going to do today? Oh, my stock sucks today. Oh, my bank account, I need to make more money. Whatever it may be, I think that's the worst thing you can do. So get up, move. For me, my ceremony or my routine is making coffee, and I really enjoy that. But then after that's all done, and I go to the office, and I'm over our digital team there at the office, and so I check in with my team, make sure what the tasks are all aligned for the day. We have a pretty sophisticated task and hour management platform that the whole agency uses. So everyone's logged into that, see what the tasks are for the day, making sure we're on track for that. Get ready for any meetings to prepare for. I usually am brought into at least a couple of meetings a day with either new clients, existing clients, maybe a sales call. So there's a lot of preparation sometimes that goes into that, just to familiarize myself with what that meeting's going to look like. So that's kind of my day. And usually if I get in by 8:30ish, I'm usually cut out by 4:35. I try to get home the same time my wife and my son do. And, that might look like making dinner at home. It might look like going out. Since my wife's a teacher, she usually is piddling around, grading papers, doing something in the evening. I might go out and exercise some more, take the dog out for the walk. I do, like Ken talks about journaling. I also do a lot of writing myself. So I'm working on different things. As I said before, I'm working on a master's program, so I'll do that in the evening. And usually by, I would say, around 8:30, 9 o'clock, my son and I have a ritual. We'll usually watch some kind of television show. We'll watch an episode of Psych or The Office or something like that. He likes to do that.
Psych is so good.
Oh, it's great. Love it. And then that's usually my day. I'm usually in bed by, 10, 11 o'clock.
I got a question. I know over your career, you've been in the seat of owning and running and being responsible for the whole thing. You got your Buzzplant cup right here.
Yeah.
And then working underneath within an organization. So how has that routine changed? Like, what was it like back then? What have you changed and learned, or what have you had to adapt to that's different? What's better or what's worse?
That's a great point. I don't think I look at it or treat it differently. I'm very entrepreneurial by nature, and I've done it for so long that the position I'm in now, I really do treat like, okay, this is my own digital marketing thing, even though it's a department inside of a bigger agency. I still treat it as very entrepreneurial, grow it. Hi, I'm responsible for hiring, responsible for, the bottom line there and how well it functions. So in that sense, I treat it the same. I think what's different is there's definitely the stress and the pressure of being the buck stops here with the whole responsibility, finances, et cetera, et cetera. Obviously, I'm not responsible for that, and I'm not a partner in the agency at this point. So that's different for sure. It's kind of nice, to be honest with you, to be able to at this point in my life, be able to go in and do my job, feel like I have some ownership in it, but not be fully responsible for it. Yeah. And who knows, that might stay that way for a while, indefinitely. It might change, who knows, but it's definitely different.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I agree, and I think there's pros and cons of both sides of that. I was mostly curious around just how, if any, you've changed like the things that you do throughout your day.
Yeah, for sure. I think it gives me more freedom to focus in on a few things.
Like you're not worried about, or maybe you are you worried about new business coming in the pipeline?
I'm not fully responsible for that. I participate in that when I can and I need to, but yeah, I'm not responsible for that. And that's nice. What's nice is like having a structure and an environment where you have so many resources at your fingertips. So if I need to go help the director of development, I can if I need to, or if I have a lead, but she and her team have that pipeline full all the time, and there's always something happening. So I'm not concerned about okay, are we gonna survive next month because we need more in the pipeline. Right. And it's really nice too to have a structure of client management, client directors that no balls are going to get dropped, and I'm not responsible for that necessarily. So yeah, there's a lot of pros to it for sure.
Yeah.
Having that structure.
Now, how do you feel like just from, I know you're in a completely different position than you were. I mean, as you different time, how you feel when you were managing everything and everything was really, the buck stopped at you versus the role you're in now, which is being able to more focus specifically on a more, on an area, and you may not see those other things that could be burdens, right? And it's hard owning and running a business. How do you feel now, like from a mental health or physical standpoint, because of maybe the stress differences of owning a business versus,
I think for a lot of people, owning a business can be physically taxing, emotionally, psychologically. But what I've found in my own life, and I can only speak for me, is that so many of those things have deeper sources, and you take them with you no matter where you go. So they can aggravate those issues, and they can maybe poke at them. But if you don't deal with them and do the hard work in your own life, I think you're going to take them to any situation. So you could be on an island retired, and you're still going to have the same issues, right? The problem is that you take yourself with you wherever you go, right? So
I try to do that.
It'd be nice if we could just check out and go.
Yeah.
I think the misnomer when we're younger, especially, I see this a lot in myself and in other men. I can't speak for women, but I'm assuming it's the same. It's, well, if once I get to this point, all I need to do is get to this point, then, or if I just wasn't in this, whatever, if I didn't own this business, or if I got this client, or if I wasn't in this relationship, or
so is that just an excuse for some of the things that are going on in your head?
I think so.
That you think it's the cause is actually the environment, but really the cause is you.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't want to minimize the. Sometimes we're in situations and we're in over our head and we make stupid choices, right? And the environment, the situation, the business deal, whatever it may be a huge cause of that. So I'm not minimizing that. And I can tell you in my own life, really bad decisions I made, really good decisions, but things that affected me. But what I realized is at the core of a lot of that, like I said, is until you do the hard work, it's going to pop up again. Even if you're in the best situation in the world, making the most money, sometimes that can be the worst situation for you as well. So to answer your question, I'm much more able to focus now on where I am, and it seems like a good spot for me right now. But I think I would be amiss if I said, well, this solved my problem and I'm no longer struggling in these areas. I think that's where I think we have to go a little bit deeper.
I think that's really wise, and it does. I was fooled by that early on. Whether it's hey, when this changes, I'll feel differently, or I'll be happy when I get to this point. That's really was my lie, and yeah, you realize that I don't know if it's as much, at least for me, for most people, as that it's an excuse, as much as it is just a complete misunderstanding of how things work.
Right.
And maybe a lack of wisdom. And then I remember when I finally realized, like, oh, that thing, I'll be happy when I get to this point or whatever, like that's never going to be achieved. And even if it were possible to be achieved, it kind of implies that you are not happy, or you don't enjoy a large percentage of your life. Certainly not every day. And so I remember when I realized that, and it's very cliche, but the journey is what you have to learn to enjoy. I know it's slightly different than what we were talking about, because we're talking about personality or character things that are always there no matter what the thing, and so those things get brought out. But I do think they're related, because it's the same kind of idea. You have to realize that those things are inside of me. They're not going to go away when I change my situation, and necessarily it's just going to change. I think a big part of a lot of the problems in our society maybe stem from some of those things, like not owning, or not even intentionally disowning, but not realizing that inside of you are the things that are causing a lot of the situations in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
Certainly situations are bad, and some people have it really bad, and bad things happen to people for sure that shouldn't happen to them. But for the most part, like, what's inside of you really influences how you perceive and what happens in all these situations, and what you think is happening to you.
Yeah,
a lot of times.
Yeah, I think too. I remember when we had Hannah Paramore on early on in our podcasting life. When we had Hannah on, and one of the things she said it just came to mind for some reason, but it's in context of what you're talking about. Is I think you have to find those things in your life, and this is one of the tips I would tell people of any age: is find the things that bring you joy, that you can get passionate about. And I remember she said is get a hobby and go do it. That's one of the things she said. I don't know if you guys remember. Yep. And for her, it was like golf. And I know her husband's a golfer, but
tried that. I suck at golf.
Yeah. Yeah. But so, that's
what's yours? What's your, like, if you were to define one hobby that you like, this is mine. This is something I've really started doing. I do well. I've learned, and I really enjoy, and I do. What is
I don't think
hobby?
It's one. And I think, again, I have a lot of things, but what I boil it down to for me, it's creativity. If I don't have creativity in my life, I will dry up and I will be miserable. And that can be as simple as, and I found this to be true about me, it could be as simple as writing an article every other day. It can be as easy. It can be as simple as playing music. It can be as simple as going to the Frisk Center, which is our art gallery and art center. Any of the things that have beauty and creativity, I have to have that in my life in some way, and I dry up without it. Now, for other people, it might be a sport. It might be golf. It might be mountain biking. It might be, and I love all those things too. Physical activity and creativity. For me, I found that's the thread that, as we talked about, like you can go live on a beautiful island in the Bahamas and be miserable. As long as I have creativity and beauty, I think I could be all right. But I think without those things, for me, I think every person has to find what that is.
So you post articles that you write right now. You post them on LinkedIn?
I post them on wherever,
so
different places.
Well, tell people where people can follow.
I post them on LinkedIn. I have a Medium account. I've been playing with Substack lately. Those are all platforms that I just write and publish stuff. But I also have
most of it's industry.
Most of it's industry, right? Tech, marketing.
Yeah. So,
I'm in the process of working on some psychology stuff now, but it intersects with tech.
You've also written 2 books, which...
Oh, yeah, I've written a couple books.
We forgot about he's written only 2 books.
NYT bestseller.
Only 2. Actually, they're really good.
Yeah, no, we should do an episode on authoring a book.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I'm working on another one right now, so more to come.
Yeah, I'd like to talk through that. But
to me, that's a source of creativity.
I wrote an email earlier today.
Yeah. To me, it's a source of creativity. And it's not like, I want to be a New York Times bestseller. Clearly I don't. It'd be nice, but that's really not. For me, it's just like, I've got to get this stuff out. Yeah. If I don't express myself in some way, and even communicating, honestly, this podcast is a source of creativity for me. Like it brings me something more than just, it's not a drudge for me. It's not like, oh, I hate this. I can't stand getting up in the morning. It's like, oh, what are we going to talk about? What are we going to create and put out into the universe that might help people in some way and help them in their lives? So
yeah. And I know, Bob, that you are a kind of a mentor type. And I'm curious, like with it, you obviously have influence at where, at 5x5. And so, and you're in leadership position within a certain area. What do you do to foster the culture there yourself? Like, what kind of culture do you like to foster? And I know that you also like to mentor. And what do you do at the office? Because you probably work with different folks with different age groups and different levels of experience. And what are the things that you like to do that you feel that you're good at, that foster the environment and the culture that you like, that you think is positive?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because it's part of your day, right? You probably do things during your day where you interact with a lot of folks, and so
I can't say that I'm always super conscious of that, meaning I don't plan that out. I think what I try to do is make people feel. My personality, I've never ever been the person where I'm in charge, you work for me, and I'm going to micromanage you. I don't think I've ever been that. That's just not my personality. Is I want people, first of all, to think, okay, we're equals. Like I want to learn from you. You can learn from me. And I think for a lot of people, especially younger people, they've never really had anybody treat them that way. Meaning, I'm the boss, you work for me, and let me, let's have that wall of separation. Sometimes to a fault, I think sometimes I can, like, let's be friends. And let's figure out the best way forward for you in your career. So I think having that posture, first of all. Secondly, is spending time with people that work around you. And one of the things that we do at 5x5 is we give people the opportunity, take time off if you need it for your family. Your family's first. I want you to know that that's super important to me as your boss. And if you ever have an issue that you need to do that, don't ever be afraid to ask, hey, I need to take my kids to school, or my kid's sick, or whatever it may be. And then also is provide opportunities to make them better. So I'm always pushing my team is, hey, I'm going to give you some budget to go get some training. What do you want to study? I don't care what it is. Tell me what it is. Give me, and it might be work related. I'd like for it to be, but if it's a little outside of that, totally open to that. I think if you can help someone better their lives and be the source of that for them, I think it'll come back around. To be a better employee, I want to be here. And I think too, the last thing I would say is, if I'm always trying to better myself, I think that will trickle down on the people around you. So if you're going to be a good leader, you need to really work on yourself. I don't ever want to take the posture that I've got it figured out, or I know more than you, whatever it may be. I've got to constantly be doing that. And I think the other thing is be willing to let them see you say, I don't know, or, hey, I messed up, or I'm sorry, I was wrong there. Be willing to do that with your people, I think is huge. And I think it creates and it fosters an environment of safety, of security, of openness, of empathy, et cetera.
That's good.
The budget for education and kind of training and furthering and all that kind of stuff. You've always been hard on that. And that's actually where I think I started to adopt that from back in the day. I think that's really wise, right? To be and smart to spend some budget. Oftentimes I think, especially in agencies, like you end up spending 110% of your time doing the thing that you're doing for a client or whoever, and rarely do you get the time to invest into actually getting better at that thing or learning what other people are doing that pulls you forward. So I think that's so smart to do, and I know that a lot of people I talk to don't do that. But one of the challenges, so we do that here. But what I find, and I've tried, it's a challenge of trying to figure out what the solution is it turns out still people want to do something, but it's hard for them when it comes down to like the brass tacks of actually sitting down and doing it. Because
you got to give them time.
We talk about that Eisenhower matrix. You have to give them time to do it, and sometimes even if you give them time to do it, if they're conscientious people, they'll see issues happening and they'll do those. And so I also think that a lot of times, and I do believe this as human beings, I think there's a balance in life and work, but I do think we try and shoehorn everything into that 9 to 5. And I do think, especially for people just coming up and learning things, I think you have to be extracurricular with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
You have to care about it enough so that you're enjoying it. It's not a grind, but it's like, we've all heard the 10,000 hours kind of idea of, if you want to get good at something, you have to spend 10,000 hours doing it. I do think that doesn't always happen in the 9 to 5, and the luxury of 9 to 5. Sometimes it does, but like oftentimes it's nights and mornings and those kind of things. So I know for me, I dedicate some time in the morning to doing that kind of thing. But how do you motivate? What have you seen with your staff?
For training or to better themselves?
Are they able to spend time doing it? Are you able to give them time doing it?
Well, I think the first thing, you have to model it, right? So again, any organization, I don't care what it is, the size, the family, a church, whatever it is, will always, always, always take on the personality of the leadership. It doesn't matter, right? So
true.
And so if I expect things of my team, I've got to model it first, and then they will then model it to some degree. And so I let them see me saying, I always are sending them, hey, I read this, guys. What do you think about it? Or check this out. This is the latest update on, Facebook ad policies. What do you guys think? How is this going to affect and what they do is they see me constantly staying up to date. They see me with books on my desk. They see that. So it doesn't make sense for me to try to push someone to educate themselves and be better when they don't see me doing that at all. So I think that's the first step. It's a big step. And then I just stay on them on it. And so I'm like, hey, we've got X amount set aside. Send me 2 or 3 courses that you've always wanted to do. And at least 2 of them need to be something related to the work and how we can make this environment better. But send them to me. And if I don't get it from them, I'll keep pushing them. And I'll just say, hey, that money's sitting there. It's yours. Send me. What do you want to go learn?
There's a master class on how to convince your boss to give you a raise. Maybe they should. Maybe that's the one they need to do.
Yeah. But I've never had a problem with them not coming back. Said, I've always wanted to learn this, and I think, this Neil Patel course on copywriting. Great, do it. Or this attribution course on Google UTM codes, whatever it may be. Yeah, go do it. And what I find is, then I'll check in with them. How's the course? Yesterday we had this. Let's go around the room and talk about the courses you're doing, your training, and what you're learning from them. And I think you foster an environment of learning and growth, because we talk about this all the time. Is this business that we're in changes at the speed of light, and if you're not training yourself, you're going to be, in a few months, you're going to be behind.
So true. That's good. I like the going around the room, like talking about your individual learning and what you can kind of bring to the table. It also kind of provides some accountability too.
Yeah,
right?
I'm not afraid to push down. Meaning, if I can't learn everything and I can't absorb everything I want to. Right. That's one of my faults. Right. It's like I just want to learn and everything. So what I've learning to do more and more is, if I want to learn something or know something, I'll push that down to the person who really is in charge of that. Like, we have a digital content writer. We have, an ad specialist, and I'm interested in all those things, but I can't be a specialist in those.
Sure. Yeah.
But if I see something and I want to know it, I'm like, hey, take a look at this. What do you think about it? Go figure out how to do this new hack or this new algorithm or whatever it may be, and come back to me and let's talk about it.
I think that point is really important for a lot of people, because, in the agency where a lot of people are doers, right? You're practitioners, and that's really good. And sometimes you're really interested in this stuff, which is a great thing. But you have to actually create self-restraint in actually running and trying to become the specialty or a specialist in every single area.
Right.
Because if you do that, you just can't. You don't have enough time. And I think that just the last point is like, I think delegating that is really smart, because what we're doing as leaders is you're trying to create time.
Right.
Right. You need to be in the business of creating more time to do more things.
Right.
The only way you can do that is by not doing more things.
Right.
What it's interesting because I think, Bob, ever since I've known you, you've just been a student of life, and you're just very curious, which I think is so awesome. And I think in this industry, you really have to be curious.
Yeah.
We've talked a little bit about positive things. What are just so we know, because I'm always curious. What is the thing that makes Bob tick? Like, what is the thing that you deal with, like in your own self? That, because I have a few things in my that they're not right. I'm not saying that I'm.
Oh yeah, no, you're messed up, man.
But I deal with it a lot, and it's like the thing that makes me upset, but it shouldn't. What is the thing that you struggle with, like during the workday? That is it somebody not being as curious as you? Like that kind of bugs me. Like people that I work around, like that don't offer much.
They're not as passionate. As
not
you
as
are
passionate about what they actually do for a living. Right. And I can be more passionate about their job than they are, and I don't even do it.
That's definitely
that bugs me. But what about you, Bob? What are things that might
bug me?
Yeah, that I might not even know about you. That, like inside, you're like, oh, that
Yeah.
That rubs me.
Yeah. I think people who are afraid to think outside the box bug me. But what I also know too is that it takes all types, and I think the yin and the yang thing, and the black and the white, I think that's what make an organization work. But having said that, I think people who aren't willing to think outside the box, people who aren't willing to see down the road, who aren't willing to or want to take risk, people who aren't willing to take risks bug me a little bit. I'm of the persuasion, and again, this is just me, is that you only live once. This moment's going to be gone, and if you live so safe that you can't experience all that life has to give and to be curious, I think you've just wasted that moment of your life.
So, would you say your mantra is live like there's no tomorrow?
No,
like what? I'm curious what you're like. We didn't do this to you, Ken, but I'd be curious.
I saw him wearing a YOLO shirt earlier.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see like what is your theme, like your words or your phrase that's your life theme, or at least your theme right now in life.
I think there's a foolishness about that, right? There's a foolish way to go about that, which is you don't think about the good of others in those situations, right? It's just like, I'm the center of the universe. I'm going to experience everything I can, right? Like a nihilism, whatever it may be. And I think that's, as you get older, you realize that's pretty stupid. I did a lot of stupid things when I was young. Having said that, I think there's a wise way to live that way. And that wise way is to get counsel, to talk to other people who've been down the road, and then to go ahead and jump with all that knowledge in mind, right? There's a right way to jump off a cliff, and there's a wrong way to jump off a cliff. And I think what I'm talking about is being willing to take those calculated risks based on looking at past history, enlightening yourself, learning, and then knowing, hey, you know what? I don't have to be afraid to live. I don't have to be afraid to take risk. I don't have to be afraid to say things that might put me in a category that's not popular. I think I lived a lot of my life that way. And I think as I'm getting older, I'm realizing that that's part of my creativity. That's part of the freedom. And it's part of what makes you a good leader. Imagine if Steve Jobs or Elon Musk said, I don't want to offend anybody. And, I'm going to keep these people happy. And we wouldn't have the inventions. We wouldn't have what we have today. Right. And so I think doing that wisely and intelligently and in a loving way, I think is certainly, I think that's what life is all about. I think that's wisdom.
So what? Paraphrase that in a sentence, in a couple words, what that is.
You're testing his marketing
Well,
ability.
I want to like give people like a little nugget of like, when I think of Bob Hutchins, I think of boom, like this is what my life is.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to take risks, because that's where you will find your true purpose in life, and it will be the best thing for those around you.
That's really good.
Boom. Look at that. Listen to that, guys.
Yeah. Good
That's
job.
good. That is really good.
You know, I think you mentioned something while you were talking there, and you can live enjoying the moment is important, right? And you can do that in a selfish way, which is sort of the naive, unwise way, and you can do it in a more selfless way. I think it's important to not be so selfless that you're not still enjoying.
Right.
I think that's part of being selfless, as ironic as that sounds. But as you were talking, I was thinking the same thing. Like, you know, not taking risks can also be seen as the right risks can also be seen, or being too safe can be seen as having really bad stewardship.
Yeah.
And having really bad stewardship actually doesn't just affect you. It gives you kind of not a great life, or not the fullest life that you can have. And you might not find your purpose, but also maybe affects who knows how many people around you, at least your family and many others as well. And I think if you look at it from that perspective as like, you know, again, not doing dumb things, but taking wise risks or being wise in how you are not overly cautious, is the best way you can serve the people around you.
Yeah. And I think when I talk to my adult kids now and I look at their lives, I would much rather have them take risks and fail than not take risk at all. And that's hard. It's hard as a parent because you don't want to see your kids fail and be hurt and suffer. And especially those risks get more costly as they get older. However, at the same time, I can say that they've seen that in my life, and I haven't always done it well, but they've seen me take risk and fail. But they've also seen me take risks and they've benefited from it. And they benefited by mostly learning not what to do with their own life, right? And that's the greatest gift I can give them in a weird way, right? Is they saw me screw up, and then they learned from that, and they're like, you know, Dad did some things. I'm not going to do that, but here's what I learned from it. Rather than me live a life that was so safe, never took risks, and they never experienced what it meant to fail or and they lived their life on the sideline, living a safe life that I think, you know, we get to the end of those lives and we're like, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have taken a risk. I wish I would have done it. And I don't ever want to get to the end of my life and feel like, you know, I didn't do something because of fear, because of what other people thought of me, or because I was afraid to lose a couple of bucks. I don't ever want to get to that point.
It's a challenging, that's a challenge for all of us, I think.
Sure. Absolutely.
Well, Bob, I feel like I know you better now.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm glad to hear.
Well, you're up next, Brad.
Wow. Okay, it's gonna be about 5 minutes long.
Now we have plenty of questions.
I wake
to
up,
ask
drink
you.
coffee, and I go back to bed.
Buy Dogecoin.
Yeah, buy Dogecoin. Go back to bed.
Go back to
buy
bed.
Dogecoin. Go back to bed.
Check my crypto wallet, and then I get depressed.
Not today.
This is good, guys. Thanks for the
All
great
right.
questions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Have an awesome day.
Yeah.
Awesome. You too.
Being you.
Go live at large.
Yes.
Talk to you guys
Till next
soon.
time.
Bye.
Bye.